Welcome to part three of all you need to about resume and CV. And in part one, I talked about the difference between resume and CV. And in part two, I discussed the different sections you need on your resume or CV. And we narrowed it down to these 5+1 sections. And in part three, I'll be talking about the rationale or the purpose behind the resumes, what function, what purpose they serve, as well as a fun fact that's actually useful because some fun facts are not all that useful. So the rationale behind resumes and the rationale behind this video is actually to give you some guidance and direction in terms of what you need to look for and what you need to focus on when you're building your resume. So first and foremost, you are establishing trust through your a summary of your experiences in education. And we do this by highlighting what you have done through your education, your past experiences, and what kind of qualifications and certifications you have. And that gives an overall and a summary of what your capabilities are and what knowledge you have. Secondly, the resumes. A well-written resume will help to demonstrate fit with the job you're applying for in terms of we go back to this again, but your resume should contain what kind of skills, knowledge, experience, and competencies you have. And the HR manager or the hiring manager can take a look and see if these, these talent or characteristics that you have will be a good match for the job you're applying for. Third purpose the resume can actually help to serve is to trigger interest. And what do we mean by this? Well, through on your resume, you can actually appeal your diversity, uniqueness, or differentiation. So, how are you bringing all these aspects into the workplace, and how is that going to actually create synergy with what they currently have, or with other coworkers, or with the department you're applying for? And fourth one, this one is actually overlooked, and a lot of people don't understand. But a well-written resume, you can actually use your resume during the interview. Well, whether it's well-written or poorly written, you can actually use your resume during the interview. You're not allowed to, check your phone, do research, or you're not allowed to use any kind of other devices. But you can actually bring in a hard copy of your resume during the interview, and you can take a peek if you can blank out about what story to tell, and with some of the interview questions. And lastly, reviewing resumes is actually their job. And whose job am I talking about? It's the HR's job. It's the recruiter. It's the interviewer's job to review your resumes. So if you if you have a well-written resume that highlights certain skills and things that they're looking for, it makes their job a lot easier, which is going to be more appealing than a poorly written resume. So that brings us to the fun fact. I ever heard of this term called the ATS? It actually stands for the applicant tracking system. And according to JobScan, it's actually used by 99% of the Fortune 500 companies, and a lot of smaller companies use it as well. And many different software companies make it, and the dashboards look like this. And as the name suggests, it gives a full kind of life cycle of an applicant after they've applied to the company. And it acts as a filter, and the dictionary definition of filter is to pass through a device to remove unwanted material. In this case, it would be unwanted candidates who they don't think is a good fit for the company. And it would give a summary like this to say, oh, hey, well, actually, Jason, Shannon, and Manju are great fits, so maybe we should invite them in for an interview. Or the dashboard could look something like this, where they separate the top candidates from the candidates who are not as good of a fit. And by understanding the HR process and the ATSs very well, I have helped people land job interviews and job offers from with companies like this, and actually have a whole 12-minute video on this. Well, I'm Professor Job Offer, and I've spent the last 10 years with a number of Forbes Global 2000 companies, and as mentioned, helped people get jobs and interviews at companies like this, including Amazon and Google. And I'm here to share with you my tips and tricks on landing your next job offer. Well, thanks for watching.